When we ask how the mind reaches critical thinking and how a smart person is formed, we all know the answer is books. For this, we filter and select the best books.
Мен Улан-Батор қаласында тудым. 4 жасыма дейін сол жерде болдық. Менің әкем дипломат. Біз орысша оқыдық.
I was born in Mongolia, and I lived there until I turned to 4 years old. My father is a diplomat. We studied in Russian, we go out into the street and talked with children in Arabic, we attended additional English classes and learned English. Thus, as a children, we grew up in the midst of a multilingual culture. Of these, the most important thing is that when we opened the door to our house in the family, we felt right away a Kazakh culture. We had a Kazakh upbringing. We communicate in Kazakh language. Our attitude to Kazakh literature and culture is amazing. And if we see another Kazakh, our parents invited him to the house. We missed the traditions of Kazakh culture.
Бәрібір сүйреп алып келетін үйге. Танысып, жақындасып деген сияқты сондай қазақ дәстүрін, қазақ мәдениетін үнемі сағынып жүретінбіз. Бітті ғой, болды емес пе, иә? Шкафқа кіре беріңіз. Сау өзіңізге ұнады ма осы кітап? Неге ойлайсыз? Бестселлер бола ма?
Рая өзі жалпы кітапты жақсы көретінді. Кішкене бала кезінен.
Raya loves reading in general since she was a small child. When we are at the train station, at the airport, she straightly goes to bookstores and grabs all magazines quickly. Our children also love books very much. There was a book exhibition called Buckmester in the autumn when we used to live in Germany. There we met the representatives of publishing houses from Kazakhstan. Raya took children there and bought for them books so they could learn Kazakh language.
The idea of publishing books came to me in 2016. Before that, I had no idea that I would engage in the book industry and become a publisher. I have lived in foreign countries for many years. I was looking for books for my children when I came to Almaty. The language issue is very important for us. We have to save our language as being minority. So I didn't find books when I was looking for. Then, of course, I was disappointed. I was immersed in a deep thought. I asked people, where are the books? Why I couldn't find any books? Then, when everyone said that it should be done by the state and the government should do it, I started thinking that if you keep thinking that, no one will do it. I really like the idea, so I said I will be involved in it.
Ойландым да, жарайды, но енді бұлай отыра берсе, ешкім істемейді екен, маған қатты ұнап тұр бұл идея, мен істей бастайын деп бастап кеттім.
Кітап шығарады дегенде, қолдадым енді. Ойына келгеніңді істей бер дедік.
At least I supported her idea to become a publisher. We said, keep doing what you think, do it, try it, and everything will be fine. She said that her main aim is to make a positive change, not only in business, but also in society, to contribute to the future. So we supported her.
Мен отбасыммен көп жылдары Германияда өмір сүрдім. Жыл сайын ол жақта үлкен Франкфурттың.
I lived with my family in Germany. Every year there was an international book exhibition in Frankfurt. I went there and talked to people from the industry there saying that I want to publish books. The book, Poet Rabbit, by Julia Donaldson, was translated by Galim Bukash. When the text was ready, we started publishing the book, taking a risk, after having received the permission for the book.
Она старается создать такую атмосферу, чтобы все чувствовали себя здесь как дома. Она считает, что это ответственность бизнеса.
She creates conditions so that everyone feels at home, which she sees as a responsibility of business. She doesn't think about others as people who comes in the morning and leaves in the evening and receives his salary, but she created an environment where co-workers share their values, such as kindness, knowledge of the world.
бірінші қайда бардың деген кезде шетелдің заманауи әдебиеті қай жақта ең әдемі.
When I was asked where did you go first, I answered, I looked at my children's shelves because I found the modern foreign literature there. On shelves, there are authors who are loved by my children, and we started a book that I liked the most, and my children liked the most, because they read mostly in English. We have a book called Gruffalo with the Diary of Anna Frankton. There is a series of Harry Potter that every child loves in the world.
Балалардың сүйіп оқитын Harry Potter'дың сериясы бар дегенде.
Не очень громко это зашли на рынок, когда Харри Поттера издали. Причем они его именно не Гарри по-казахски, то есть с русского, а как...
They brought big news to the market when they released Harry Potter. Harry Potter, not Gary-like in Russian. We're used to relying on the Russian version and the Russian translation. And when translating from the original, it translates beautifully, trying to accurately convey the pronunciation of English names using Kazakh sounds. But people are not accustomed to it.
Используя казахскую звуки, стараются передать английское звучание имен, то у людей это вызывало отторжение.
Для нас это было неприемлемо писать Гарри. То есть в казахском языке есть звуки «х», есть звуки «э». То есть мы можем фонетически...
It would be illogical for us to write Gary. That is, in the Kazakh language, there are sounds H, which means that we can give it exactly the same phonetic and spelling. We felt that people would argue about this, but we did not try to avoid it and did as we thought. So we imagined that the translator and the editorial team who create the text of the translation, they also rely on their worldview, professional qualifications, literary knowledge, work experience.
Литературное знание, на теоретические свои знания, на свой опыт работы. И получилось то, что получилось.
С таким редактором, конечно, они что-то такое всегда делают. Например, Орден Феникса, Гарри Поттер.
With such an editor, they obviously create an extraordinary thing. For example, in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, they took the word order in the same sense as a medieval organization, and not an ordinary one. According to Nazgul, I decided to translate it as Alka. The necklace is now perceived by Kazakhs as a decoration worn by women around the neck. Indeed, the alka is also the center of men, a cluster.
Перевод это сам по себе, это такая тонкая вещь. С любого языка, на любой...
A translation is a subtle thing that must be transmitted from one language to another, from different texts, whether it be a literary text or a play of films. This is a subtle matter. There is an opinion that in translation theory, there are many versions, and it is not 100% accurate translation, but we try and give at least 97-98% of 100%, meaning of the original text.
Қазір Грузия сияқты елге барсаңыздар, ол жақта бәрі грузин.
If you go to Georgia, then everything is in Georgian language. If you go to Mongolia, there are all of books in Mongolian language. In Turkey, you read in Turkish. The same happens in Germany and China.
Германия барсаңыз, немісше оқисыз, иә. Қытайға барсаңыз, Қытай тілінде оқисыз.
С ее знаниями, с ее опытом она могла бы работать в любой стране Европы, она могла бы работать в Америке, она могла бы там жить.
With her education, experience, she could work in Europe, in any country, in America, and live there. That is, any door in the world would be open to her, and there would be no obstacles. But she left all this and moved to her historical homeland in Kazakhstan. After arriving in Kazakhstan, she decided that all children should read good books.
Получали все лучшее, что есть.
Мне что важно в Раисе, это, во-первых, она смотрит, она вот издательское дело ведет, как принято на Западе.
Remarkable thing is that Raisa, first, when she started doing business in publishing, she treats the author with the same respect as in the West, because in Soviet times, whoever could publish a book received good money. But the problem is that the author becomes an instrument of ideology. For example, if a novel does not fit the size of a printed plate, publishers told the author to cut 20% of the work, and where there is respect for the author, such an attitude warms your soul. Working with Raisa is a pleasure.
То это просто греет душу, честно говоря. Просто приятно иметь дело с Раисой.
Ең жақсы кітаптарды біз сүзіп таңдаймыз. Ол мүмкін мәселен Ұлыбританияның жақсы жазушыларының әңгімелері болуға болады, неміс жазушыларының әдебиеті.
We filter and select the best books. We bring all good books in the world, such as the good stories of Great Britain, the German writers, the Americans, the French, the Chinese, the Japanese writers. Books that I think our Kazakh readers should read, and then why we can't read them in our native language.
Біз ана тілімізде бұл кітаптарды оқи алмаймыз, оқуға тиістіміз ғой.
Мне миссия именно дать казахскому читателю мировые бестселлеры. Зачастую они выходят.
Her mission is to present a world bestseller to the Kazakh reader. Bestsellers are mostly published in Russian, and Russian market is so big. For example, now the illustrated encyclopedia Magic was published on the same day of the presentation of this book in London, New York. That means that the publisher who owns the rights to Harry Potter trusts him. She was given the text in advance for translation, editing the book, and preparing for printing. This is a show of respect and trust at the global level.
Книгу подготовила к изданию, отпечатала тираж. Это вот уважение и доверие на мировом уровне.
Ең ана Наскапайдың несінің бәрін ескеріп отырып жасайсың.
Литература Казахстана как-то вот вспорхнула, да, встрепенулась и продолжает выдавать очень шикарные произведения. Народ читает.
Kazakh literature is reviving today, spreading its wings and bringing to life wonderful works. People read books and read a lot. I don't know what the reason is, but our generation, in their 30s over 25, knows that reading is of great benefit.
Дети, они как-то ответственно, осознанно к этому подходят, к привитию чтения, к любви к книгам уже с такого раннего возраста.
We have a passion for books since childhood. In this regard, people's understanding has changed for the better, which means that if a child reads a book, he will learn more.
Что читающий человек, читающий ребенок, он потом будет хорошо, больше и лучше получать знания.
На мой взгляд, именно особенность нашей традиционной культуры была в том, что был высокий общий уровень.
It seems to me that our customs and culture are like that. For example, if a popular pianist or opera singer comes to the Count's castle and performs, then only guests listen to him. And in Kazakhs, if a singer sang in a yurt, everyone gathered around him. Even those who did not fit into the yurt sat outside and listened. There were even cases when the yurt was raised upright and moved to another place, so that at first 10 people listened to the singer in the open air, and an hour later, 1,000 people listened. People had a high general intellectual level.
Сейчас уже 1000 человек сидели и слушали. И люди, общий интеллектуальный уровень был высокий.
Білімге ашық болу, білімнің артынан жүру, іздену деген сияқты ол өте маңызды. Сондықтан балаларыма айтатыным, ізденіңдер деймін.
Being open to knowledge, seeking for knowledge is very important. So I tell my children to develop and be seekers of knowledge. It is very important to find out if you need any information. Second, we need diligence and we should be hardworking. Third, to be human, to be kind, to be humble, to be kind to your people, to your loved ones, to nature.
Кішіпейлі болу деген сияқты. Одан кейін өз ортаңа, жаңағы адамдарға, жақындарыңа болсын, табиғатқа болсын, осындай мейірімді, жақсы қатынас.
Как-то раз была у них в гостях, и это у них за семейным столом разговор одновременно идет там на 5-6
Once I was a
языках.
guest in their house, and they sit at the table talking in 5, 6 languages. Because relatives living in different countries, come Raisa herself knows several languages. She studied at an early age in different countries, lived and worked there. I like her patriotism and purposefulness, the sense of service to the motherland. And on the other hand, I like her inner freedom, love of the world.
Внутренняя свобода и такая вот космополитичность в лучшем смысле этого слова, вот это меня восхищает.
Для меня Раиса это не просто начальник, не просто соратник, она мой очень большой друг, это добрейший человек.
For me, Raisa is not only my boss at work, but also my like-minded person. She is my close friend, a very kind person. She is a mother, a wife, a faithful child, a respected daughter-in-law who lives under the same roof with her in-laws. She even goes home on her lunch break to prepare tea to her mother and father-in-laws. She thinks about business, family, children, and the conditions of her team. And all the young people who come to work for us, all are like brothers and even sons and daughters for her.
Братишки, какие-то сестренки, чуть ли не дочь, сын.
Жақсы ана, жақсы әйел.
She is a good mother, a good wife, a guardian for her children. I think she is a strong leader who loves the language of her society, the Kazakh country.
Мықты көшбасшы деп ойлаймын өзім.
Қандай бір кезде болсын балалармен бірге сапалы уақыт өткізу, ол өте маңызды. Өз-өзіңе бір сақ.
It is important to spend quality time with the children at any time. It is also important to give yourself quality time. It is very important to be alone for 1 hour. And I think it's a blessing to go out and eat with your husband, all on balance.
Сыртқа шығып тамақтанып келу, әңгімелесіп отырда, ол да бір бақыт екен деп ойлаймын. Соның бәрі балансқа келтіреді.
С одной стороны, она вот так вот старается казахскую аудиторию поднять, дать возможность.
On the one hand, she is trying to raise the Kazakh audience and give the opportunity to read new bestsellers together with all progressive humanity. On the other hand, she is changing the attitude towards authors in our publishing business. Of course, it is worth noting her human personality. For me, Raisa is a wonderful person.
Раиса удивительный человек.
Она не родилась здесь, она не была гражданкой.
She was not born here. She was not a citizen of Kazakhstan. She has probably been a citizen of Kazakhstan for about a year. She moved here 5 years ago. From one of the actions of a person, you can judge what kind of person he is. They decided that their children should grow up in Kazakhstan. Wherever she grew up, wherever she studied, she decided that her children should grow up in Kazakhstan.
Но ее дети должны вырасти в Казахстане.
Менің деген қоғамға деген осындай көзқарасым, бір жақсы іс істеу деген көзқарас, бұл менің отбасымнан қалыптасқан. Менің әкем сол 90 жылдардан бастап өзгеріс.
My view of society, my view of doing something good, was formed by my family. My father helped students to study abroad in the 90s, when it was time of changes. Then he took advantage of his knowledge and offered a lot of help to those who were next to him. We grew up seeing it, and after we grew up hearing such stories in our daily lives, such as about how good I would do to society, how I would contribute to the development of our society. So it seems that was remained in our consciousness.
Қандай пайда етем деген сондай әңгімелерді естіп өскеннен кейін, сол түп санада қалып қалған сияқты негізі. қазақ
If you wonder what foreigners think about Kazakh women, they compare us to heroes because they keep their promises and can achieve their goals. The Kazakh women who aspire to be independent, they raise their children in the same ways. And Kazakh women tend to respect both elders and juniors.